Hello and welcome to this car pod.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Filippo.
And today we have a car pod.
Yay. Exciting.
All right, let's get right into the news.
Let's do it.
What do we got? Ooh.
Oh, man.
All right. This is the Aspark Owl. If you're listening, you can't see. We're talking about the Aspark Owl, and I know what you're thinking. What is that? We don't know. The Aspark Owl is an office joke here at the Cars and Bids office. We think it maybe exists. It may not. But one of them set the all-time speed record for an electric car, 272.6 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
I know what you're thinking. Which one? Why? That was the Aspark Owl SP600.
Oh, there's more versions. Than
Well, okay. So, interesting question. What does SP600 stand for? I'm quizzing you. Any idea?
Well, it's not the horsepower. Surely to go that fast, it has way more. And it's electric car, so it's not that.
It's not the speed in kilometers.
The answer is it's discussed nowhere on the website, and I cannot figure it out. What is the difference between a regular Aspark Owl and the SP600? No idea. Where did they get SP? Where did they get 600? We don't know.
I know.
Sports
From the
prototype.
Shelby Durango.
Oh, they saw the SP360. They were like, we're gonna really.
What did that mean? Also,
It was supercharged. Had 360 horsepower.
That's as good as the eye identification. Eye identification.
So anyway, the Aspark Owl SP600 did 270 some miles an hour. Unfortunately, it is not a real car, although this one has owl eyes.
I know that's
The owl eyes are great.
a look.
Yeah, and it's fast apparently. And the reason it's an office joke here is because it's vaporware, and it's called the Aspark Owl. I mean, come on.
So, can we talk about the Aspark Owl for a second? It's
Yeah.
like Aspark is a company run by like a Japanese billionaire. Or
Thank you for bringing that up. It is a company, purportedly. Can we use the internet on Kennan's device?
use the
Kennan,
internet
go to the
Kennan's
Aspark website, if you will.
How do you find it?
You Google Aspark Owl SP600. What does it mean? Which I did. No, just type in Aspark Owl. That's all you need. Hit enter. Now go to asparkcompany.com. Yeah,
AsparkCompany.com sounds legitimate.
Yeah. Keep going. 0 to 60 and 1.2. Keep going. This is great.
Wow, the fonts they've chosen.
It's a very high quality.
Oh, the number 001 debuted in 2024 May
of 24. There we are. Keep going. I found some explanation of things that was not really in reasonable English. But if you start clicking on stuff around this website, click on Owl. Click on Owl.
Not about us.
Man, I don't know. You'll find that none of it makes any sense. Yeah, this is it. As if an owl gliding on silent wings, capable of striking its prey in the blink of an eye. Enter a new world. That's comma. Enter a new world of explosive acceleration, hush speed, blinding quick launches, new heights of exhilaration. That's a sentence, apparently.
Wow. Avant-garde. But
Leave the world behind to experience the beauty of speed. If you continue scrolling, there's just stuff like that.
Scroll back up. Electrified in every way with
every way is one word. Every way. Also, Kennan, you'll especially like this. Keep going down as far as photos. This is one photo they chose.
Wow,
and no, this photo is not cut off because of Kennan's monitor. This is the picture that is on the website. No, I'm sure this is a real car, and I'm sure it set the record. And the SP600 is obviously a very high performance version of it. Special Performance 600.
Wow. Well,
bespoke battery system.
Comfort mode to balance speed with comfort.
High speed mode to bear the owl.
Anyway, as you can see, the Aspark Owl, this is a very important news story and a very high quality automobile. Aspark Owl coming to your local neighborhood Aspark dealer.
experience the thrill of taming this monster. Bend it to your will! Exclamation mark.
And a comma there.
And a comma for some reason. Wow. Outstanding
Comma's
use.
not the only problem with that sentence.
Outstanding use of ChatGPT to build content for a
Coming
website.
to your local Aspark dealership.
But it is a machine that can go 272.6 miles an hour, reportedly.
But only the SP600.
Right.
You got to get the
regular
SP600.
one. Who knows?
And I know you want that, but unfortunately you can't have it because it doesn't exist. Okay.
Yep.
And I know you're thinking it exists, but it doesn't. And that one has owl eyes. Okay. Give us another news story, please.
All right. Smart, the people that made the Smart 4 II and the Smart 4 4 for that matter.
Yeah.
They already have some like crossovers now.
Really?
The Smart number 1, which is
These are on
pound
sale?
1. Yeah, in Europe and China and some other markets, I believe. They have released the number 5, or they've revealed the number 5, which is this one.
What happened to the 2 through 4?
They've released the number 5, which has 637 horsepower. And guess how large it is.
This has 637 horsepower.
Yep.
This is a smart car.
There's a smart car that is the size of a...
well, it looks like a Kia Soul type thing.
No, it's the size of a Model Y.
Model Y probably has about that much power.
Yeah, probably. But like,
So
this is
Smart is making a
Smart
Model
that
Y.
started out as a project to build a car that fits width-wise in a parking space.
Right.
It's the short city car meant for kind of dense areas. Now has a Model Y size, 637 horsepower.
Filippo, automakers evolve.
Why use the Smart name at all? Like, what
Because Smart
brand
sounds
cachet does it have?
electric-y.
It does, actually.
Electric-y. Plus, it has brand cachet. Don't forget the 4.4 was a major seller for a 7-month period in 2005.
Apparently, this car specifically is a collaboration between Geely, the Chinese company, and Mercedes-Benz. So that's
Wow, and it has
for you.
knobby tires.
Yeah, great for all that power. Really need those knobby tires.
You get Geely and Mercedes-Benz together, and you end up with a car that has lighted windshield
Ropes.
brush away guards.
I know, isn't that quite something?
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's crazy.
That's a Smart brand.
This is not coming to the U.S.
That's
I
not
assume.
coming to the US.
Why not?
Because Smart would need to first launch here again.
What do you mean? They don't exist anymore?
No, they haven't existed since probably 2012.
They exist in our hearts.
Yes.
You know
all other cars are dumb. They are smart.
Heck yeah.
They've sold 2 cars in the U.S.
The Smart?
The second generation Smart.
electric drive.
and the 3rd generation Smart.
That little roadster thing is in Mexico.
Okay.
And the rest of the world. But okay.
All right. Give us another news story. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Our favorite topic.
Favorite topic, Fisker.
Fisker, what happened?
They have filed for bankruptcy.
Why did it take
Again.
them so long?
That's a good question.
What happened there?
I mean, they haven't been selling Oceans. Obviously, they just
Right.
ran out of money. They have somewhere between what they claim to be $500 million and $1 billion worth of assets.
Yeah.
Presumably, manufacturing contracts, some parts,
Okay.
whatever.
So they got $750 million assets, let's say.
Yeah.
And how much in debt?
I couldn't find the exact number in any news stories. Some few hundred million in liabilities is what they said.
A few
generally.
hundred million. So it sounds like their asset. They got more assets, liabilities. They're all good.
Yeah, that's how.
Keep
business
going.
works.
Let's keep making cars. What I don't understand is how they have so much assets since they don't have a factory or dealerships. Is their assets? Do they consider like their brand name to be an asset? Because I don't.
And neither does anybody else.
Yeah, I bet they do, and I bet they have a bunch of parts ordered and technology that they consider valuable.
Are those assets?
they
parts for a
filed-
car nobody wants?
Can
Yeah,
consumers
good
just
question.
start buying those to keep their cars on the road?
No, apparently it's been quite a problem for Fisker.
You know what's
buyers.
funny? I stopped seeing them. When these cars
Oh,
were
there's
on
one that
sale
parks a
for a
block away
while.
from me every day.
Really? Because I would see them around, and they're like, now I don't. It's like somehow the company went out, and people were like, all right, and they got rid of the car.
They never leased them. They never figured out how to do a lease.
They
program.
never did a lease. The only ones driving around were bought.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't look so dumb with my maintenance schedule on my M5 now. These people are people.
Well, no, they don't have that problem because they can't get it maintained.
Well, no, but they lost.
No, but
they
the
lost
money I put into my
He
car,
put
they
58
lost.
grand into his car over 10 years. They put 58 grand in the car over like
Yesterday.
a long weekend.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep. Their goal is, as part of this Chapter 11 bankruptcy, is to restructure enough such that they can be bought by somebody else. Right.
No one's gonna
just preemptively that.
What are you buying? You're buying a company that contracts a factory and has no dealership.
You're buying some car designs, I guess. I don't know.
Remember the Pear?
I do.
What happened to that? That looked like that smart thing,
The
actually.
Alaska, is that what the other one was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ocean is dead. I hope that everybody heeded our advice and did not buy one, even when they were 25 grand, which I was tempted by.
Because now they're worth 13 grand.
It was wild to watch a car company disappear, coming back and disappear that fast. I feel like
It hasn't happened in a while. Right? Like, there was a time in the early-ish part of the 20th century when car companies would launch, would sell some cars, and then be out of business.
Yeah, right.
But when was the last time a brand just...
Like Duryea
Right.
and Hispano Suiza.
it feels like the 1920s where cars are just coming and
Well,
disappearing
because it doesn't take much to get an electric car
Right, yeah.
certified. You don't have to do any EPA stuff, really. And so it's all crash. And that a lot of that is self-certification. Yeah, it crashes. That's what Heinrich told everybody.
And
I'll tell you, it crashes all right.
Tesla showed that
Right
it
down to
can
2
work.
cents a share.
There it
Nice.
is.
Nice. Tesla showed that you can start a new company
Yeah.
out of nothing.
Yeah.
I bet they're one of the only ones, right? Tesla, Fisker, Lucid. Everybody else is kind of a spin-off of another manufacturer.
Rivian. Do you know about Rivian? They make the
Rivian?
trucks and the
Good
sport
call,
utility
good call.
vehicle.
Everybody else is kind of a spin-off of another
Lucid
manufacturer.
is a spin-off of
the Saudi investment fund.
Yeah. And I still hear that it costs $400,000 to build a Lucid.
Well, they haven't amortized the costs over the full set of cars yet.
And you know why that is?
Because they haven't built the full set of cars yet.
Because no one's buying them. And you know why that is? Because they're too expensive. So they got this problem where it costs them $400,000 to build a car, and the car is being offered for sale at $150,000, and it's worth $93,000. And in my book, the cost of a $400,000 car selling for $93,000, that's not sustainable.
Okay, wait, can we talk about this?
You divide the number of.
No,
you don't like to do that, but at the end of the day,
I think
how many cars are they going to sell?
It's generally, I frown on the practice of dividing their total investment by the number of vehicles they've sold so far to get the cost to build, because it changes over time.
I agree generally with that, but for Lucid, it doesn't change that much over time. So well, we can do it for Fisker though. It's stopped. We know the answer.
God, I want to know.
Okay, let's move on from Fisker. We have beaten them enough. Here's some sort of race
Speaking about
car.
something that matters, so Ferrari won the 24 Hours of Le Mans for the second year consecutively.
Yeah, that really looks like a Ferrari I see on the street.
Well, we don't know what the new supercar is going to look like. To be clear, that's not.
It ain't going to look like this. You know what this looks like? The Aspark Owl. Now I want an Aspark Owl because they're winning Le Mans.
Imagine if this car had owl eyes; it would be better.
This car would be better with owl eyes.
Instead, it says Adler. But
yeah, what is Adler?
Who knows? Some sponsorship, a lot of money they paid to have that.
Yeah, you can look it up.
But what's also wild is they won
Adler.
Le Mans. They also won the Monaco Grand Prix, which is the first time in history that any manufacturer's done it since 1934, or I guess first time this century anybody has done that. But it's a wild. It's cool to see Ferrari winning Le Mans because they didn't race in Le Mans for a long time, since the 60s. They come back and they've won 2 years in a row, which is pretty wild.
They didn't race since like the 250 LM era.
That's correct. But not for the sport prototype cars. They had private entry, like GT class cars, but not sport, purpose-built prototype cars like this.
Yeah.
But what's important about it is like Ferrari has always placed an emphasis on their racing. Like that is what they do. Formula One has not been going too well since 2007. Haven't won a championship.
So what about that? They just decide Formula One isn't going well, so let's put the investment into Le Mans and win that.
I think they wanted to come back and at least win something.
Does anyone care about Le Mans? Like, is that a thing do you think that sells a lot of cars?
I don't think it sells a lot of cars necessarily. Not anymore. I think that we had a discussion about this, that generationally people used to really care that a car won at Le Mans, brand won at Le Mans, showed durability and longevity, which things Ferraris are not known for.
No.
But I don't think it does anymore, but I think like they need to be associated with racing. That's what they do. And so they can to win a historic race like this, pretty big deal.
That's true.
And Monaco Grand Prix, same idea. Although Formula One championship would be nice.
And there are people named. I know one of them, Kennan. It's the only person I know that like buy from brands that are sponsoring their favorite cars. Right? You
Kennan only uses
Shell fuel.
Yeah,
he's a big fan of the seatbelt manufacturer.
Yeah, and he finances all his cars through Santander.
I don't use HP products though.
Akape.
But
it's very impressive. I'm glad as someone who owns a car with the powertrain from a Le Mans prototype car. I'm very happy to see that.
well, good. I'm glad, but nonetheless, it just gives me more pride in the brand.
Who's the driver for? I mean, there's multiple drivers. Obviously.
There are a lot of drivers.
But like, is somebody famous?
No, there were no Formula One drivers.
There's no like personalities that emerged from this.
So, I mean, it's wild because sometimes the Formula One teams let their Formula One drivers go and race in Le Mans and then go and race in Formula One, and like Fernando Alonso is a great example. McLaren let him then go to do the Indianapolis 500, I think, instead of doing Monaco. But it's such a risk to take. Drivers are paid so much money to do a job. To have them go risk doing this or riding a bicycle or anything else, like it's just such a high risk.
When I was a kid, Deion Sanders played baseball and football. And one time he played in a playoff baseball game and then flew immediately to a football game and played in the football game. He also drove a 92 Diablo.
Nice.
But really though, I echo your sentiment about this. That doesn't look like it looks just like the car behind it, which God knows who made that. Like it's not. Back in the day, the 250 GTO went to Le Mans, the 250 LM, and then they like sold those or very similar cars with the exact same engine except a different number of pistons. They sold those cars.
It wasn't pistons, it was carburetors. But we'll move on. But
Kennan went on this big rant about how the 250 GTO doesn't have the same engine as the 250 GT, and I'm like, they're the same.
He said the Lusso and the GTO have the same engine, which is.
But it's the same idea. Okay, all right, fine. There we go. Ferrari wins Le Mans. The car looks like every every other race car, it doesn't have the same effect as it used to.
We'll see if the technology trickles down on the road cars as it often does.
What technology? The giant wing? Yeah, that's already there.
No, like the powertrain stuff, longevity stuff. It's the reason why they go racing is that it does end up in the road cars, are one of the few brands that actually does that.
296. I could buy a 296. I look at this picture. I think to myself, I wouldn't mind a 296.
Do you think 296, or do you think whatever car made by whatever manufacturer?
No, you know what I think? I think I want a V8 Puro Sangway.
Oh,
I look at this. They win Le Mans. Let me go out and get a V8 Puro Sangway and put it on 24-inch Ford
Giottos. It's got a tricolore right on the splitter. You know,
I know it is actually kind of cool. They have the tricolore and then this actually old school like racing stripe that goes up. Yeah. That's real. Okay, what's our last news story of the day? Oh, yes.
Okay, so the Audi RS GT e-tron has a performance package.
Sorry, Kennan, it's the e-tron GT.
No one will get that right.
No, it's one of the worst named cars.
Plus, Audi moves the RS around. Sometimes it's RS space, sometimes it's RS together. They just do whatever they want.
It is RS e-tron GT.
Anyway, they came out with a performance package, 912 brake horsepower. They reduced the weight in the electric motors by 20 pounds each, did some stuff with the brakes. To be clear, the 912 horsepower, you have to go into a special mode to get it. It's not that all the time, but
it's like
still.
a 10-second boost or something like that?
So it's like an overboost function, and it does 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It's all great. It's all very impressive. I happen to really love these cars. I think they're some of the most beautiful four-door cars currently in production. I'm just happy that they continue to do stuff like this because it means the others will continue to depreciate and we'll have one day.
This is the same like powertrain as in the new Taycan, right? Like the Taycan
I think
GT.
Was there a facelift Taycan? You know what I like about this? They enlarged the front end for more airflow. You know, to get the air to the engine.
Yeah.
It's naturally aspirated.
It is. Electric cars are naturally aspirated. You thought NA cars were dead? Nope.
We're not going down this road. I don't have time to explain to him how wrong he is, but.
I don't see a turbocharger. I don't see a blower. No, what I really like about this is the fact that it's going to cost $31,000 in approximately 9 months.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
What is the sticker? Do you know?
I believe it's $120,000.
120 sticker. So they're going to be transacting at 78
pretty quickly.
No, I mean like today, right there.
Probably a very good car to lease.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
But that is cool. 912 horsepower.
It is amazing how many 900 horsepower, 1,000 horsepower cars there are now. There are just so many of them.
You drove one this week.
I drove a new Mercedes. Here's a name for you. Mercedes AMG S63 E-Performance. That's what I drove. Now, no one will call it that. It's called the S63. And it has...
Is there a non-E-Performance S63?
No. And it has...
we have a general naming structure rule on Cars and Beds where if a car was only offered in one body style, we don't list the body style.
Right.
Why are they listing E-Performance? It's all E-Performance.
You're damn right it is. That's why they say it. E-Performance. Anyway, it has that car, which is just an AMG. It's the only S63 you can get. It has 790 horsepower and 1,055 horsepower. Or torque, pound-feet of torque.
250 horsepower less than the new Rivian R1S.
Well, it's a car. Also, it has pillows.
Also, it's only 100 less, but it has pillows?
Yeah.
Are they removable? Can I sleep on it?
You can go up, go down. Oh, adjustable. There was another pillow in the trunk. I don't even know what it was for.
Did you take it?
I should have.
Well, as we know, Mercedes-Benz are usually driven by bad guys. It was for when they stuff somebody in it, they've got a pillow for their head.
Can I give a quick correction? The Audi e-tron GT Performance or the RS e-tron GT Performance starts at 150.
150.
149.
Like you said, 120.
Like I said, 120. Like he said, 78.
Yeah. So
any of those are
it will not
correct.
impact it in the least.
Okay, let's move on to our Talk Cars segment, starting with Kennan.
The way I'm dressed.
Kennan is dressed. Emily bought him a nice shirt.
Yes, a nice linen shirt. I was on vacation in the Caribbean.
Kennan went to the Caribbean.
Which I went to St. Martin, small island in the Netherlands Antilles, half French, half Dutch, which is great because I got to see a lot of cars that I don't normally otherwise get to see. So I got to see some,
Did you see some Dutch cars? Or what?
I guess, you don't get to see French cars ever. Like, you never get to see Renault, never get to see Peugeot. A lot of Renaults, very few Peugeots, I noticed. But I got to drive. I had a rental car that was a Haval H6, which, of course, I'd never heard of. And it's a Chinese car. I've never driven one before, and I was surprised at how it was good.
Can you show what a Haval H6 looks like?
Absolutely. It doesn't look like an Aspark at all.
Well,
that's a good thing.
Yes, it's a good thing.
Ooh, it's a family-rented SUV.
It's
a pretty normal-looking SUV.
Does it have owl eyes?
Sadly, no. I don't think that was an optional extra either.
This looks like a perfectly fine SUV.
These are
and
all
it
over
was.
Italy.
Now I have to
really?
Yeah.
I have to say, every time I left it in the sun, the interior distinctly smelled like it was melting. Well, so that was a problem.
It's hot sun.
Countach smells like that, not in the sun.
And the transmission was awful. It was really.
It's not electric?
No, it was gasoline.
I thought the Chinese only made electric cars.
No, they still make some gas powered.
In the Caribbean, you're going to want gasoline powered cars. Not a lot of places to plug stuff in. Not a reliable electric network there.
What's the size of the island? I mean, you could probably walk from one side to the other.
It was too big for that. I'll tell you that much. I did end up scratching the door on it, but it was a difficult
Kennan.
it was a difficult car.
You damaged a high quality Haval H6. Did you have the GT?
I did not have the GT. I had the 2.5.
That?
Yeah. What?
Yes,
you
they did.
disclose?
I disclosed that.
You told them?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you bought
handled
that linen shirt in the Caribbean?
No, I actually bought it here before I left, but I wore it there.
But it bought it here. He's like, that'll look good on the pod when I come back from the Caribbean.
But it was
This is the first time you've driven a family car since you borrowed Doug's wife's XC60 years ago.
no, I also picked him up from the airport
Oh,
in
nice.
the
Sequoia.
in the Sequoia, which was very large.
Did the Haval you drove have this great Haval badge?
Yes, it did.
I'm glad they've committed to a logo.
I know.
Their
It has so
name
much.
the size of a license plate.
That's kind of how I felt about it too.
So was there anything weird about it?
No, that was the thing. It was incredibly normal. It actually felt pretty thought out. Also, it felt better thought out than the VinFast in a lot of ways. Stuff was a little bit more conventional than that. Although I did see quite a few VinFasts on the island too. So it's interesting because I've been going there forever. It used to be all like Hyundai i10s was like the car you'd see everywhere, but now it's all these.
The Chinese
And some
automakers and obviously VinFast Vietnam, they go into low regulation places first. And the islands don't have any. I mean, you can't make regulations because if they had regulations, the automakers would be like, well, we're not selling our cars there. Peace. So there's none. So they go into like the Latin America and then the low regulation, lower income, etc. And then they kind of develop, get successful, and then they come here and they eat Filippo's lunch.
Which
Right.
was what the South Korean manufacturers did for a long time too.
Right, which naturally I don't feel the need to buy a Haval.
No, but you'd I bet
you could have it.
But it'll be here
when
eventually.
you're a pensioner, you'll be driving Haval.
Is it going to be an expat in the Caribbean?
An elderly. No, I think
here
that
in
by
the
the
US.
time, here's what's going to happen. By the time these Kennan's old, Haval will be like the sturdy, like Subaru. And he'll be like, got my
You
Haval.
want to put money on it?
Dude, you think that these boomers who grew up after Pearl Harbor thought they'd be driving around in Toyotas?
No, some people specifically said they would not, and then ended up doing that. I'm sure, or Mercedes-Benz is probably the same thing. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
You'll be driving Haval before you know it. And even if you're not, they will be. That's a Honda CR-V, except it's going to be cheaper.
Yep.
Filippo, what do you have for us today?
All right. Last week my brother-in-law and his girlfriend visited us, and they drove around in my Fiat 500 Abarth Cabriolet. There were many comments about how fast it was.
Well, they must be used to performance cars then.
But like that's the thing. It's not fast.
What is
No,
the
it's
0 to
not.
60?
Oh, the 7 seconds, some of that. Maybe high sixes.
yeah, and yours has a boost leak, so probably 8-9 seconds.
Does it?
No.
Yeah, it's missing some horses. I'll tell you that.
Goodness.
Or scorpions in the case of that thing.
6.9 seconds.
Here's a wild thing. Filippo confesses to me the other day
What did I confess to? Oh no.
that the interior lights went out in the 500.
Oh no, they didn't go out. I removed the fuse for it because I needed the fuse for something else.
The fuse needed. Okay, and guess what? It's been a year, and he never replaced the fuse. I'm like, dude, a fuse. Like I could do that.
Filippo, if a puddle light goes out on my car, I replace it immediately.
And imagine
you don't have any interior lights.
Imagine
Puddle
it's
light didn't go
night.
out.
He opens the door.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's like
Yeah.
There could be a pirate in there. So anyway, people drove the car and they thought that it was fast.
They all think that it's fast. And the thing is, one of them drives a new RAV4 hybrid, which I bet is faster.
faster.
But
Doesn't
there's like
feel.
a feeling of speed because
Yes.
it makes a lot of sound, and you feel like you're going to topple over.
To
'cause
me,
it has horrible
that's
body
the
control.
coolest thing about that
Right,
car.
it's the only cool thing about the car.
Is that
But
like
it works still.
it literally does feel fast though. The
Yeah.
sound and it's low and it's short and you like feel like
You do
you're
feel it.
And that's the cool thing about it because you don't have to go like Courage GT is not really fun unless you're like going. But that car you can have fun like around.
No,
feels like you're-
we're back to the age-old argument: slow car, fast, fast car, slow. I think that, and I believe that what people really mean by "I like to drive a slow car fast" is what they mean is they want the sensation of speed. Is what they really want.
I
And that
think
car
they mean two
delivers
different
it.
things. I think it can be the sensation of speed. It can also be that you want to really wring out a car.
Yeah,
But I
delivers
also
the
specifically
sensation
think
of
that the 500 Abarth specific. I'm not even talking about slow car fast.
Yeah.
I think the 500 Abarth specifically delivers the. I'm not that fast, but it feels like it is better than maybe any other car in the world, except some vintage stuff.
What was it Jeremy Clarkson said? I am a Ferrari. I promise I am. It's like the kind of the attitude that car has.
It just
it's just-
fascinated me. Like it just, I've gotten used to it. Right. It just, I'm driving around in a car, And am I driving aggressively and a little bit like an
Italian.
Italian? Yeah, of course. It's an Italian car. But I don't think of it as fast.
It also handles.
Because I know that I got to forward.
It steers and handles quickly, and I think that quickness also adds to the feeling of speed, even though it's not straight line fast.
Agreed.
Like compared to a RAV4, which is a ponderous car, that car is zippy.
Right. It's just slow, and that's great.
That's why people like those minis. When they first came out, like it's zippy, it's fast. Well, they weren't. Right,
They
same
weren't
deal.
fast,
but they were quick. They were like quick to move.
Yeah.
One
Nimble.
time I had a friend refer to their 2003 Toyota Corolla as a go-kart. And I kind of got it because I'm sure they're used to driving around in like a Jeep Cherokee or something. And it is.
Damn, that's a go-kart I don't want to drive.
But perception is everything.
Perception is everything. That car does percept
It does
fast.
percept fast, even though it is
And
notably
that
slower than
is
my station wagon.
the best thing about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I do love that I go
That
to
and the
third-
price,
driven
that and the price point. I've driven his. My friend Stevens was nicer, no offense, but
Well, he's got
that's
the-
how I knew he was just a little down.
He's got the
on
boost leak and he's got no interior lights. Do you have dashboard lights?
Yeah.
He also asserted that he would sell the car to me. He didn't tell me the interior lights weren't working.
It's a fuse.
You know
man.
what? His
It's a
car.
fuse
Do
thing.
not buy his
Yeah,
car.
No, I would give Kennan a nice price to fix it for me. To return it to
I give you a nice price.
I give you a very nice price. Very good.
to return it to a good situation.
My talk cars point for this week. I drove my Ford GT 500 miles in the last week.
Wow.
That's not bad.
How many miles have you been driving?
I drove my station wagon 1,000 miles. In the
That's
last
what he said.
weekend.
He said, "Well, I drove my station wagon 1,000 miles." I'm like,
Last
okay.
weekend.
First off, second, it's a Ford GT. It's not a lot of people doing that.
That's
Yeah.
true. I'm proud of you.
That car is so just reliable and durable and strong and good and easy. And this Jeremy Clarkson thing still persists. I posted that and people are like, I thought they were unreliable because of Jeremy Clarkson. That was 20 years ago
it was all
because of an
battery drain,
aftermarket alarm that his insurer made him add because Britain is a nanny state. And he had to be, that was the thing that caused the problem. I've had the car now 11,000 miles, 6 years, zero problems. But my experience is not enough to override the Jeremy Clarkson thing.
Also, I think
James May told me. I talked to him and I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, it was just the aftermarket alarm. It had nothing to do with the car."
Right. I mean, that's pretty much as close to the source as you can get.
He was like, "Well, I'll tell you because I was there."
Yeah. I mean, you don't know, man. You weren't there. But the other thing is that nobody drives those. There are so many. The vast majority have probably sub 1,000 miles on them, and yours is at what now?
42.2.
42.2.
I hit 42,000 this week, and I'm already at 42.3. I think now. Yeah.
Man, keep going. That's
I've
good.
driven it 11,000 miles since I bought it 6 years ago. Wow. No matter, I've tried to drive it as much as I can. So the thing is, I've driven 500 miles because I've been doing some filming out and around and not during traffic times. I try to drive as much as I can, but I've got kids and other fun cars, and so it doesn't. Some weeks it's a lot, some weeks it's not much.
You're leaving soon on a trip, and you're making it a point of driving.
Yeah, try and drive
each
all the
car
cars for
yeah.
you. But it's what a special thing. It's so cool to be able to get into a car that special,
It is
and
special.
like use it. I mean, it's incredibly dirty. And like use it and just own it and drive it and like have the fun. And I drove it to filming locations all the last 2 weeks, and it's just great.
Yeah,
and
and
it feels special.
I think you need a car like that. I mean, it doesn't. Admittedly, if you go directly from that to Countach, you forget about the Ford GT altogether because it's such a different experience. Or if you go from Countach to Courier GT, you forget about that, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But I think like you said, to have one you can use, rely on, not worry that much about.
It's very important to me. I have 3 special cars that all do 3 very different things, and the Ford GT is the one I get in and can just count on and drive anywhere. And I was actually in some pretty heavy traffic with it a couple times, and it's not fun, but like you do it.
It's doable.
And you just
And it
sit
is
there.
actually doable.
You can
Like, you
fit
don't have
in
to
it.
worry about it.
It's
And on an unrelated point, it's the most beautiful of the 3. Courier GT is like is a fine looking car.
he likes the Countach the best.
Yeah, but it's not
I'm
beautiful.
debating
I
that,
also
actually.
like the Countach.
The Ford
the
GT
best.
might be the most beautiful.
Never
The
look how it
Countach
looks.
is striking. The Ford GT is actually beautiful.
Back wheel's too far back, needs a wing, design's too feminine. I never loved how
Design's too feminine. That's his
the
biggest.
curves are too soft. The Countach is
What does that mean?
It's just like a too flowy for it's a 700 horsepower V8. It's like, but it's like, ooh.
700 horsepower?
Well, not factory. 550 OE.
He claims this also. I'd love to see a dyno sheet.
I have a dyno
that
sheet.
proves it.
So
Let's see it.
come on over, Kennan. Okay. That's the Ford GT. 500 miles in a week. I'm not going to drive it all that much going forward, but I did check out. Here's an interesting factoid for you. I've driven my Ford GT more in the last year than in the year before.
Wow.
Isn't that a surprise? Considering I have the other
I know
cars
why.
and another child and all that.
I know why.
Why?
Your station wagon is not as available anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I had to give up my station wagon to my wife. Okay, next up is our market report. brought to you by Cars and Bids, your online source for cool cars from the 1980s to present. You can say
Carsandbids.com.
Carsandbids.com.
Sell for free.
How many cars have we auctioned at this point?
Off the top of my head, 21,000 something.
21,000 cars.
It's pretty
They're
amazing.
That's pretty legit.
Here,
Including Kennan sold an M3.
I'll tell you the exact number.
And a Ferrari, but well, yeah, okay.
Kennan sold the
Both with no
M3
reserve.
to a fella in South Dakota.
Yeah, 21,000.
Okay, there's a lot to discuss in the market report section, and I want to talk about 997 turbos. I've wanted to talk about this for a long time. Pull up 997 turbos. Kennan, are you aware that a 997 Turbski, as we call it here,
Yep.
is
what we call it.
if it has a tip, which is finally we were saying it about the actual Tiptronic transmission. If it has a tip, you actually pull up the whole thing. If it has a tip, it is worth half of what a stick car is worth.
Wow, legitimately half.
Are you aware of that?
That tracks, but also half. That is quite
Does
the delta.
tip become a buy at some point?
Yeah.
Like half. Like this is a $100,000 car with 3 pedals, or a $50,000, and that's not like a 430 with a stick and an auto, or a Mercy. They're both expensive. They're both like expensive exotic cars. This is like a $50,000 car. That's like a 3 Series or a $100,000 car, which is like an actually expensive car. Like that's a deal. What do we do about that?
That is a
Are you
deal.
planning on doing anything about that?
No, I want a 997, but I'm not going to buy a tip turbo.
No,
But-
Why not? That's the thing.
he's going to buy a
But at what point wouldn't you?
tip Carrera cab is more.
Because this is the thing. You want a Carrera S, right?
Nah, we're base. It doesn't matter.
Okay, a
there
base.
you go.
What's a base? 40 with a
30.
stick?
30, 35.
35 for a base C2
Yeah.
with a stick?
Yeah.
With 7 million miles and an
Well,
05
like-
that's been hit 3 times.
Yes.
That's what we call a Filippo car.
Yeah.
With the special.
And the parking brake goes out and he's like,
No interior lights.
Who needs them, guys? It's a convertible. You got the moon.
if transparent windows were an option, Filippo would
Most-
spend 3 days trying to decide.
Most windows. What?
He would build a chart and it'd be,
Do I really need transparent windows? I don't know. I could just stick my head. I could roll it down and stick my head out.
Oh, and if they weren't the normal thing that happened, okay.
Yeah.
Got-
you would not get electric
would get a
windows if they were
panel
optional. You'd be rolling. You'd be
Oh,
cranking.
absolutely not.
Gladly.
Anyway, it's a
that's a-
half price. I know it's not appealing because it's an automatic, blah, 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 but
It's
half
that-
the money, 50 grand, 49 for that cab.
I know that cab is.
So 49 and a baseball hat for the shifter.
Yeah.
How bad is the tip?
It's not great, but it can
It's a
handle
5-speed
loads of
auto,
power.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not bad. I mean, like it's not clunky or anything. Like, yeah, it was a torque converter auto, so it's like smooth, you know.
Memory serves, it's the same transmission Mercedes used for the SL65. It was like it can handle a lot of power.
A lot of power. And people get lots of power in these.
For me, it's like I don't want to lose my manual card over a
I
997
wonder though,
turbo.
like if
But it's
there's a
fun.
person for whom this makes a lot of sense. If
Yeah.
you're going
Yeah.
to daily this car
Sure.
and you're going to be in traffic and you're looking at what can I get for 50?
Then why buy a turbo?
Because
it's
it has
fast.
500 horsepower.
Just sitting in traffic. Who cares?
Oh, Filippo, you know nothing of traffic.
Because
You don't know
when
how
the traffic
Kennan and I-
breaks and you want to get through it.
Yeah. 300
Or in this case,
horsepower and 500 will be the equivalent experience.
Filippo, never look up what 250 GTOs cost.
But that is
Well,
amazing.
your
that a
argument is
normal-
that power is what matters here.
No, my argument is that there's all sorts of different things that mean things.
I mean, clearly there are buyers at that price, but I can't imagine them going cheaper.
When I look at this, I think to
my
myself, this would be a pretty good daily. Like if I just needed a car to drive around, drive to the store, like
So-
daily, and not for 50, it's like
it's appealing. I don't like. How do they go lower?
they
than
don't.
that?
Yeah,
They can't.
You're not going to lose money.
So really, the values have kind of fallen this way: manual turbo is at the top, then turbo S, and then auto turbo, because all turbo S's are
Turbo
automatic.
some turbo S's bring all the money. This one I think didn't because it's a cab and it doesn't have center locks. A good turbo S coupe with center locks like this, although this car had 1 million miles, so I may still bring more than a stick turbo or around the same.
Interesting.
Like this one here. I mean that shows you it's cream white.
Well, but
Yeah,
like,
very
look to the
well.
one to the left of that, somewhere in the 90s, presumably, and like a car with similar miles but a manual turbo.
Yeah, I mean
with
it starts to get hard
95.
though because some of them have weird mods
Yeah.
and some have been hit. You have to
but
really
it's
get into it.
It's in and about there.
Turbo S's though, yeah, 100 for a Turbo S. What I really want is a Turbo S Edition 918 Spider.
When did
Nice.
the
Good reference
PDK
there.
arrive? Was there
PDK
a-
was for the 0.2
Two,
cars,
yeah.
which was probably the 10 model year. So, or maybe 11. I don't know if they skipped 10, but it's in that era. And all the Turbo S's are PDK. But still, it's a decent value.
Great
That is
value.
a great value.
Speaking of great values, Kennan Give us one.
So I recently did some research for a video that was talking about 5 underappreciated or like exotic cars I expect will go up in value. And
Kennan,
I really
where will they
started
find that
thinking,
video?
they'll find it on Cars and Bids YouTube channel. Very shortly.
Outside this podcast.
Thank you, Filippo. Anyway, so I started really thinking about this, like what cars are going to go up in value, what cars I think are desirable, and what cars are undervalued. And I don't know why, but I was thinking about Lamborghinis, and I feel the Murcielago in general is that way. The E-Gear cars should be worth a lot more than they are, and they will be one day, I suspect. But one that really caught my eye was the Superleggera. So the first generation Gallardo Superleggera came out in 2008. It debuted in 2007. It was the ultra lightweight focus version of this car. I looked at the average of what they sold. We sold these two in the past, one for 140, one for 157. The average sale price over the last 5 years, according to classic.com, which is a great resource for this, is $130,000.
I know.
A 430 Scuderia over the same period of time, on average, $221,000.
And people talk about that being undervalued.
Right,
Because a 360 Challenge Stradale is like a 300 car.
For a good one,
350.
yeah. For a rough one is 200.
Yeah.
And so, like, they only built 681 of these cars for the whole world.
618, this
Or
is.
618, excuse me, 618. And so, like, this is
Is
a really special car. And
totally undervalued. Click on that yellow one.
there are a number that have transacted I've seen under 100 grand. And it's like,
Wild.
that's not going to last. This
No.
car is really special. And I suspect people have forgotten about it. Also, the vast majority were e-gear. They did make between 10 and 20 manual versions, which I'm sure that'll probably be $1 million car one day. I would not be surprised. But this car it's just nuts. I mean, it's an ultra lightweight focus special Lambo.
Right. That's selling
Low
that's selling for
production.
like regular 430 money.
Right. This should not be the case. And if you have the means, you should probably consider buying one of these.
I agree with you. I think that this is a really special car. I've always kind of thought that. You never see them. They were really focused, really special. Plus they're super leggy.
Plus, do you know how much horsepower it has? It's an easy one for you and I to remember.
522.
522 horsepower, because that's our birthday, May 22nd.
I understood the first time. Thank you. I know.
What does it mean?
Superleggera.
What does it mean?
It's extra light.
Extra light.
And it is. Most of the body's made out of carbon fiber, along
Is
with
that
the
true?
mirrors. Yeah, and the underbody panels, carbon fiber.
I
They
agree.
took 220 pounds out of this car with a standard car.
I agree. These are super undervalued, especially compared to 430 Scoot. I don't really get in general why Gallardo is really not treated all that well by the market, other than the R8 is there, which kind of added to the production totals, and people are a little afraid of this powertrain. But I mean, compared to a 430, I think this is a super cool car. I always have. I just wish they made more in sticks.
Would you say the values are super legit?
Thanks. I was hoping you would pick that up. I didn't want to.
Okay, Filippo, give us something interesting.
Yeah,
I
all right.
agree with you, by the way, Kennan.
Can
Dearly.
you pull up ND Miatas? You can click on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Oh, wow. That's quite one that we have left.
That is quite one.
We've sold a bunch of RF 30th anniversary editions.
Yeah, you know about this car? Mm-hmm. It's like a regular Miata ND, but it's the same color as a pumpkin. You've
Yeah.
seen those?
I like pumpkins.
Yeah, to eat?
Only in pie form.
Huh. Okay.
So this one sold for 37.6. We've sold a bunch of these in like the high 30s. MSRP is 38,000 for all of them.
Really?
Really? So it's at MSRP?
When there's
It's
3,000.
at MSRP.
Type in Miata anniversary up
Or just
there.
30th anniversary edition. It's only anniversary edition.
30th, and then hit enter. Hit enter. Right. Oh, okay.
No. All right, keep going. All right, we've
Sorry
sold
that I-
legitimately probably 10% of the.
I know. We've sold a bunch. How many? 16. So, and there were 3,000 of them, right?
But they're all in the high 20 to 30s. There was that one that sold for 41.25. MSRP on that was also 38,000.
Yeah. I've watched this. We've been selling them.
They had 10, like early on. I got it because you couldn't get them.
When this one listed and sold, this first one for 39, I was like, wow, we got really lucky. I remember thinking
Yeah,
that.
same.
Go back. And then the next one got similar money with more miles, so it was less money, but it made sense. And then they just kept going. And I thought, well, these are going to come down at some point, and they never did. Now, it does look like the RFs are really stronger.
Although that the one for 35.5, I assume that MSRP of the non-RF is lower.
Yeah, the RFs definitely pull
like-
more. It's weird they did both.
Also, I don't understand the variation.
Yeah, what is maybe somewhere in Canada or been
But
hit or
like,
something.
how are they still selling for above sticker with 3 to 20,000 miles?
Right. Yeah, I don't understand.
What's and
Especially
also
there's
why
3,000
just those?
of them. They must-
They're not. Okay,
Right, it's not that
into
rare.
Any of them? The package is identical.
To be clear, I think this is cool as hell.
Oh,
If
it's
I
such
was
a cool
looking
car.
for an ND, I would really want one of these, but then I would
Scroll
see
down
it
to
still at
the-
sticker, and I
to the
probably
features.
wouldn't.
Or to the equipment. All right, so what does it add? Not that much. The raised wheels, the Brembo brakes,
But it's cool. It's orange.
the color. That's kind of it, though.
But it's cool.
I know it is cool. I agree with that. It's cool.
But you could get
how?
Soul Red
How?
and pay half price.
How? Like, how have these maintained?
I
They're the
don't
only
know.
car that's 5 years old in this market.
Yeah.
That's not that limited. That's selling for above sticker.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Right.
surprised
Yeah,
by it too.
it's not like it had a blower on it or something like that.
No.
It's just kind of
Every time one of these sells, I have a similar thought for a couple seconds, and then I
Yeah.
kind of move on with my brain. But I agree with you. I'm like surprised at how much money they still pull and how desirable they still
By the
are.
way, in general, well-spec'd ND, both 1 and 2 Miatas, still get shockingly close to sticker.
Especially compared to NCs.
And C's are
Because
$0.
because the difference in year is one model, like between a 15 ND.
we all, I mean,
But NC's NC is so good. An NC Club.
yeah.
He had an NB, you know. Did you
did.
know that?
I did know that. Yeah.
Apparently ND Miatas with great specs are the buy.
Can I tell you
but-
something? I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Please.
I think the ND is the all-time best Miata. I think the RF is the coolest, and I would get the orange. And so this is, one could argue,
There you go.
this is the best Miata
This is
ever
one, yeah.
made. This particular car, low
But
mile stick.
They're still making the RF.
Yeah,
The ND3 is purportedly better.
but you only have one 30th birthday, dude.
So true.
Next year for me.
They're going to be up to the 35th anniversary here soon.
And
That'll
your-
go
your
for so much
birthday,
money.
I guess.
Also, of note, there were no special edition. There were some special editions, NA and NBs, but they were all color related. But now they're naming them like anniversaries.
They did a bunch of special editions. They were
did.
color and
They were all like-
they were cosmetic entirely.
Limited edition is what the name of half of them.
Well, and there was that BBS one, the Merlot Mica.
Yeah. I remember it.
Anyway, I agree with your point. I think these do sell for a lot of money. However, I think it's the greatest Miata ever made.
You heard it here.
I mean that. Some guy came up to me in a parking lot yesterday when I
do
was
love
filming, and he was like, "Hey, man, Doug, nice to meet you. And, what are you driving?" He said an ND. Like, he wasn't proud of it. And I was like, dude, that's the car. I still think about how much
Go
I
back
like
to
that car.
ND Miatas. Oh wow. Okay, sure.
Look at these.
Go to lowest price.
What are the lowest prices?
Oh, they're in the low. Yep.
but they're not under
13.
10.
No,
God,
they're not
this
under
is
10.
A
But
great car for
I
this
have
money.
bid on at least one, and I will continue to because I bid on that black one that got the 1625 because it was in Ocean Beach, and
These
proximity
things are
matters to me.
so cool for the money.
Yeah, end of the street is ideal for Filippo.
But like at 15, which they're not quite there for non-accidented ones. These are all I suspect have accidents, whatever.
yeah.
But as they get below 15, that's a lot of recent,
Great car.
newish car for 15 grand.
Yeah,
And
they-
it's so fun to drive.
so much fun.
You've
Such
convinced
a
me.
balanced.
I'm selling the Barth for Andy Miata.
Okay, do that.
If I find one for under 14, I will.
The best thing about the ND, in my opinion,
Laughing at me.
because to get under 14, you'd have to get an accident car, and you won't. And also, it would have to be listed locally. And
I have no qualms about. And the other part
Can't
of
put your dog in it anyway.
I know.
the best thing about the ND is it has all the modern stuff, but they still managed to make it as light as an
Yeah.
NA. It's trickery. It's literal sorcery, this
Yep.
car.
The only problem was that my wife hated the NB Miata because it was so
Yeah,
low
but
to
the
the ground.
NA but the
I think
N-
the ND will be better.
It's better.
It's better.
It feels modern.
less.
It's much more. It's
Deadly.
refined, and it does drive better than the NC does. The suspension setup's completely different. They really focused on that. But
What does Emily think of the ND?
the ND's a great car. The only I drove one with a supercharger, which
Okay.
was
Oh, you
which was
drove one with a
great, and that
supercharger?
made it perfect.
Modified, okay.
That was the only
How much
thing
power-
that was modified.
How much power was that making?
I can't
What,
remember.
what was the
exactly.
top power output on an ND? Like the early ones had a smaller engine.
I think 160 is the most.
Yeah, there it
What do you
is.
think my orange anniversary, my pumpkin has?
It's the same engine. There's no
160.
differences.
There it was 210 horsepower and 187 foot-pounds of torque.
In
Yeah, the
ND1s.
early ones had, right.
But then it went down. Maybe it was a weird situation.
Why don't you know this?
But
As a connoisseur of pumpkins.
this
Yeah,
made it
within
that,
5
that made
So
it
200 was the number?
yeah. It was 210 187 horse or 187
Add the
foot-pounds
wheels.
of torque.
Interesting.
But it was that really brought it to where that was the right balance because the only thing about it is like it does still
is
it's
slow.
not fast enough. It just doesn't have enough power.
it feels
But if you
fast.
bring up the power just a little bit, then it matches the capabilities of the rest of the car, which are very good.
Yeah.
and
And you don't
really
want to
fun
overdo
do
it, though, like some
No,
people do.
Exactly, and that is a fine balance.
Right. It's like tuning an instrument.
yes, it is. And this one's just you just use the fine tuners and just get it right there. And it was I loved driving that car.
Okay. That's an interesting point.
Thank you.
That you've made. And I do think the ND special editions are surprisingly expensive, but they are the greatest Miata ever made. We now move on to our final segment.
Ooh.
Questions. Remember to ask us a question. Go to carsandbids.com, click on the Communities tab, and then there will be a post there that has all the questions for next week's podcast, and we will answer them. Now, we will not be doing this next week because I'm traveling. We're going to pre-record using this week's question. So there's going to be a lot of this week questions.
Yep.
But after that, we're going to do it every time. And there are some great questions this week and next week.
Yep.
Great. Some of the best questions of all time.
So listen to this week's episode and next week's episode.
Okay. First question from somebody. From a user whose name is Kennan's wife, Emily. Hi, Kennan. To Kennan. Hi, honey. Did you enjoy the trip? I know I had lots of fun. Smiley face. Your biggest cheerleader and lover, Emily.
Yes, the trip was wonderful.
Okay, fine.
This person does not exist. Is killing me. Yes, it was a lovely trip, though. I had a good time.
Kennan's wife, they're not married. They're not married.
Did you see a ring on that finger?
We're hoping that in the next... Emily's hoping for any day now. Kennan's hoping to delay it a couple years, and then they'll have a nice wedding.
Do you think that he'll propose with a lug nut from his car?
He thinks a lug nut is something that he
right. He doesn't understand what he just said. It's a lug bolt for starters on that car, but
hope you don't talk to Emily like that. Okay.
No, just Filippo.
Next question from e-tron. Doug, is there one car that you would travel to another country to review? Filippo, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, he traveled to Canada to review a Chiron.
That was years ago. What about now, Filippo? What's the answer now?
I know the answer, but I'm trying to think of a funny one. 1 second.
I'll give you a funny one.
Aspark Owl, you go to Japan.
No!
You go to Japan to review an Aspark Owl, admit it.
To review vaporware?
Yeah.
I'm not going to Japan to drive nothing.
I don't think he would go to Italy to do the Ital Design Columbus if they offered it to him. I think they did.
I would only go to Japan to review an Owl if it was an SP600, first of all.
Naturally. Why would you review a version that isn't the fastest?
And second, no, I wouldn't go for the Columbus. Now, this question asks, is there one car that you would go to another country for? The answer is no to what?
Oh,
but
I know what it is.
Go ahead.
But he would go to Brunei to see the garages.
If the Sultan called and said, hey, man, we want to do some videos with these cars, I would say, all right, let's do it. And I would do 10 of them or 50 of them.
If your iPhone lit up and there was a call that said it was
Sultan of Brunei,
you'd answer.
Yeah, if Brunei called, I'd answer.
Yeah.
And I would go for the cars. I'm dead serious, by the way. The answer is generally no. I'm not traveling anymore out of the country to film videos. It's just not. It's too much of a time commitment for one car usually, and it's just not worth it. Even the Ital Design Columbus is so special to me, but it's just not worth it. But
I'd do it.
Brunei, I would do. There's so many crazy cars. There's so many. Plus, to be one of the guys who went to Brunei.
No, right. It's like shaking Sinatra's hand, as you said to me the other night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
100%. But I would go to other countries to review cars.
I don't think you would. You wouldn't know what anything was that was there.
That's
I don't
a great point.
You would have it to flex over him for eternity.
Yeah. That'd be the big
thing. You know what he'd do in Brunei? He'd go into the jungles and get really tall and look at the trees.
Right, because he's wearing a giraffe shirt yet again.
I wore this shirt specifically for you. It's the last one that we're recording for a little bit in person. I thought I would grace you with a giraffe.
I want to give him some low-hanging fruit so he doesn't have to strain his neck like you will to reach the tops of the trees.
So there's your answer. I would go to Brunei. Wouldn't you?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand there are a lot of political tensions around, I guess, Brunei and stuff. But
I would miss Kennan and Emily's wedding.
Whoa.
If it meant I could go to Brunei. If the Sultan called me and said, I'm doing it on Saturday, and I'd be like, hey, they're getting married in Catalina. He'd be like, no, you're coming. And I'd be like, all right.
We would delay the wedding for you if I could go too.
Can Kennan come? Yeah. All right, Emily, I get bad news.
You can't drive around in a Scion IQ.
Right.
Catalina
all right.
reference there.
That's a good Catalina reference.
All right. Yeah, that's all they're driving. And Subaru Bajas.
Or like Kate trucks.
Next question from BSHER. I am curious. This is a long question. I have capped it at just the early part of the question.
Curious.
I am curious if you have noticed a trend with repeat vehicles, whether they sell for more than the previous auction, less, roughly the same, or all over. Essentially, do you think highlighting the car that's been previously sold on the site for what it's up for auction adds or takes away from the value of the vehicle? I'll let Filippo answer. Generally, my view is that a car that is just sold on the site will probably sell for less the second time if it's like immediately after, if it's right after.
Mm-hmm.
If there's been a year or 2 years, it doesn't really matter.
I actually think that there's a positive impact.
Yeah, it's been vetted before.
It's been vetted before. You know that an enthusiast bought it and owned it for a year.
Interesting.
There's more information about what happened. Like you also know who the prior owner was, all the information that they presented. So I think
if it's been 90 days, it's not good for it because the car, like the people who were there, and then they kind of had this cooling off, like, I'm glad I didn't get it, or they just bought something else,
moved on.
Yeah.
They moved on.
Also, like, why are you selling it?
And then there's that
implicit
fear.
question.
There's a lot of that stuff. So right away is a problem. You make a good point. If it's been 2 years, well, hey, someone who's into the site bought it, and so they're going to be an enthusiast. That's good.
I mean, like, think about all the car enthusiasts we know that buy and sell car every year
or two.
Like, it's like totally accepted, and
yeah,
it's actually nice that somebody that is part of the community bought it.
Yeah. That's a good point. The one kind of wrench that's thrown into this is more the market changes.
Yeah.
So like you could definitely look at some cars and say, well, this one listed in 21 and then sold again in 24, and that hurt it.
Market.
Well, no, I think the market changed a lot, and so I think you can't really necessarily make a conclusion based on even based on the same car selling at auction within a 2-year span,
right?
Because the market changed so much for some cars.
And
not the Aspark Owl; those are still transacting at 0.
They're not transacting at all.
But yeah, no, I think that's a summation.
Yeah.
You agree?
I do.
There you go.
Holistically,
that's the answer. It's an interesting question because it's surprising how many repeat cars we have.
It's kind of nice to see.
At least like one every couple days that's already sold. Yeah,
especially now. I mean, we've been around for 4 years.
21,000 auctions.
Years, a couple weeks ago. It's a lot. Look, people buy and keep cars for short periods of time.
Have we ever had a situation where someone bought a car that was previously on the site and didn't know it had previously been on the site?
From Cars and Bids?
Yeah, no, they like bought a car from someone.
100%.
And they've gone to list it, and we're like, we sold that already. And they're like, really?
We have had cars that were bought on the site, sold to somebody else. That person sold it on the site.
Right. Or a dealer.
Sold on Cars and Bids. We've actually had cars that I think have transacted 4 times on the site.
That's funny.
Mercedes SL, if memory serves.
It happens. It happens.
You keep it for a year, but yeah.
Next question from Daniel Guyman. Will there be a Cars and Bids app?
Yes. Very soon.
Very soon.
Stay
We're
tuned.
being told by Filippo. Very soon.
Stay tuned.
We're all staying tuned, Filippo.
Thank you.
Next question from Alec Metz, 2011. What car do you think has the greatest disparity in value between the manual and automatic version?
Supra.
Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy's the winner. You're right.
I think it is Mercy. And I posted the question in part because I was going to try to see if we could ideate one that's different here.
Is there anything that has even fewer?
Well, okay, so I think there are probably some cars that like aren't discussed that like a Ferrari California stick, if one of those showed up, a regular Cali is a 90 car. If a stick one, there's 9.
Right.
Or something. We don't know. They haven't transacted.
Never transact.
When there's some 575Ms that were
Super Americas, which is what he's thinking of. Regular one is 180. A stick, did you say a stick's $1 million?
About $1 million, yeah.
So that's
up there.
That's more than the Mercy.
More than a Mercy,
right?
Yeah. Which is I consider to be like
599,
250 to 7.
Yeah, Mercy is like a 200 to 700 thing. 250
for
a
special manual.
Yeah,
599 is up there.
Mercy SV is probably
Mercy S. Yeah, but a Mercy SV is already pretty expensive.
What's a regular SV?
I don't really know when the last time one transacted.
No, there's not that many.
Yeah, let's see.
It was a while ago though.
Let's just see.
We sold a decent one. Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
700 for a tip.
Yeah, that feels about
But
right.
sticks, the general feeling, like there's 4 stick ones.
Yeah, they're all
Or 9
they're all
or
over,
something.
well over $1 million. But I think
That's probably the greatest
Delta's
total dollar
bigger,
disparity,
though.
but
the Delta.
Also, I guess Mercy manuals vary a lot. The very spot we had that in the 2 insane sales at 710 and 650, but we've also sold one for 417.
yeah, although all the O2s are sticks. You know, I'd
Yeah.
be interested in, whereas the 640s are
different.
And that was Car Super Lamage. I would be very interested in knowing the answer to this question is based on our current knowledge, it's probably like a Super America or a Mercy. However, there are cars out there that have not transacted that may
maybe more.
be more. Like a stick California to a regular California. I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
So if you have a stick California, we would really love to.
That's interesting.
Sell it on the site.
And a Mercy LP670, it's not so they don't get sold. I don't know. Well, who knows?
But yeah, something like that. That sounds right.
How about the Tip for F40?
Well, for the Agnelli car. Yeah.
What do you think that goes for? The automatic goes for more than the manual. You don't think? Come on, it's a 1-of-1 OE tip car for Gianni Agnelli.
I mean,
yeah, well, Vallejo Mondials don't go for more than the manual.
Yeah, but they weren't made for Gianni Agnelli 1-of-1.
I don't think people want it.
I would buy it.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I'd pay up for it.
Yeah.
I don't know that other
100%.
people would.
Filippo would, because he's Italian and he idolizes Gianni Agnelli. When Filippo grew up, Gianni Agnelli was the only wealthy Italian, and Filippo said, "Someday I want to be like Gianni."
No,
Agnelli.
there were other wealthy Italians. Just all their kids have been kidnapped. So I didn't know that.
You didn't want to be one of those kids.
Okay, final question comes from Austin M0330, and it's a question for all of us, but geared towards Filippo.
Yeah.
If you each had a daily drive a common car found in a $10,000 used car lot, what would it be and why? And the question continues, Filippo, you're welcome. Kennan, I'm sorry.
I have the needed answer, but Kennan, please go first.
How common is common?
Like a car, like you can't pick a BMW.
Is a Lexus of some kind? Is that too much?
Okay.
You
would
could pick
say-
a BMW, but like not.
I would say
Yeah.
a Lexus, like a Lexus LS 400, like an original one, or
That's a good
the
answer.
early ones.
That's a good answer.
Very reliable, really refined.
What are you
affordable.
sneering at? That's a great answer. He's got himself in a rear-wheel drive V8, nice car.
Yeah, it's.
What do you
it's
got?
The nicest car at that price range. Because if I can't choose like a BMW of some kind, which inevitably, of course, I would.
Well,
it's like
you can, but
I
it can't
think
be
you
a-
could choose like a
you could
like
choose a-
E90 328i.
Or an E36 tip convertible,
no.
not M3.
Not
No,
a-
I don't know if you can really get it. And
I don't
you
know
maybe
if
get
it's
an
a common car
auto
lot.
beat M3 for that money
Yeah,
these
you
days.
could.
But that's not going to be in a normal used car lot.
Tip
The
cap.
spirit of the question
But like
is a normal
328i,
car.
you could.
So what do
I
you
feel
got?
like
What do you
that's
got?
a normal
my head
car.
went to like a Mark 6 GTI.
That's not a normal car. He's saying like a
They sold 3 trillion of them. They're everywhere.
Am I more in the spirit of the question than he is?
No, he's trying to-
an LS. You think you walk around?
By the way,
and
I've
find an
seen the
LS400?
question, and he specifically said I couldn't say an E39 540i. I know.
And you're saying that he's trying to evade the question.
I think
Okay,
mine
a
is
GTI
more.
and an E39 540i are 2 very different cars.
Yeah, my car is more normal than the GTI
I don't
that you've chosen.
agree in the least.
He got an LS400. That
That's
was
a
like a
very
car. That was a car.
30-year-old car.
But that
Yeah,
was a
it's
car
the
that
point. It's
like,
in a used car lot.
people bought that
they
car.
aren't around. at
There
used car
are
lots.
hundreds of
Mark
thousands.
6 GTIs are worth
Where do you
$7,000.
think they are? Where do you think LS400s are if they're not at used car lots?
Mostly junkyards and being owned by old people. I don't know.
They're not owned by old people anymore.
No, they're
That's
not.
The Hellaflush
Fourth
crew
owner.
has that now.
What would you choose?
And to be clear, any Lexus LS in that price range is probably what I would choose.
My answer is the correct one, as it always is. The 1998 Mercedes-Benz ML320 gray bumpers, cloth seats, no tint. Good night, everybody. Do you agree?
I get it. I don't agree. The last time I had to make this, in 2016, I bought a car for $8,000 that was a Ford Focus hatchback stick.
Yeah.
And
You
I
actually
owned-
did this.
I owned that car for 5 years and like 70,000 miles, and it was wonderful. And I would buy it again in a heartbeat.
You wouldn't get an ML320?
No.
But that 6-cylinder lasts forever. It has a locker, or it has a low range, and it looks like you were the most successful realtor in the community of new build-outs in 1999.
Yeah, it does. That's all I care about. You're right. I should do that.
No tint
But
cloth
depending
seats.
on the neighborhood, you should be in an Explorer Eddie Bauer.
No, that's a clunky thing.
So you look like a real estate person. I look like a Freemason, and he looks like a punk in his GTI.
Freemason.
They all drive Lexus.
What an Ohio thing to say. what a deeply Ohio thing to say. To not only know what a Freemason is,
Yeah.
but to know like what they drive. I have
See him outside the Masonic temples.
By the way, I'm surprised you didn't choose a Fiat 500 to buy.
no. It's a normal car.
That's a
I
normal
thought about
car.
that. I probably would have.
Yeah,
if it
I mean,
was
trust me. If I could choose a performance car like you
Hey, what
cheated
about-
and did,
we define
I
normal
would.
cars.
What
differently.
about an 04 Maxima? Remember that Maxima generation with the coin slot roof? Those
I
had
do.
a lot of power.
They did.
I bet I could drag him and beat him.
Unfortunately,
in
don't
his
look
L4.
good. But
But I'd
they
be
did
so
have power.
comfortable and peaceful. I don't know. You gotta do what you want.
I got a coin slot roof.
All right, wait, are you saying that I can't do a GTI because I have a backup answer?
What's your backup?
Jetta Sport Wagon stick.
That's more like it.
That's not.
But
a
that's not normal.
car.
You're never gonna find that in a used car lot.
That's an
You think you're gonna
enthusiast
find it?
car.
What are you talking about? It's a normal. It's a Jetta.
I'm getting a coin slot Maxima.
It's a
This thing,
Jetta.
first owner was Enterprise.
Also, just so you know, that's like $2,000. It's actually outside of the parameters of the question. It's too
the
cheap.
coin
now.
slot Maximas are okay. Then the next gen Maxima. You know the next gen Maxima after the coin slot car. You guys can all stop watching. That's fine. The next gen Maxima after the coin slot car, the 09-ish. I legitimately think that is a beautiful car. Pull that up. So we sold any of those? I'm
I
interested.
think so.
I'll bet you we
Type
haven't.
in Maxima. Let's just see what we've sold.
Wait, now I'm debating.
That's the coin slot car. I don't think that one has the coin slot. And no, we have not sold the gen that I'm talking about. Type in 2009 Maxima so we can all enjoy the beauty. It might be like 2011.
Okay, let's see.
No, that's the one. Oh, that is such a nice looking car.
It's a good looking car.
That car's probably 10, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
If that.
Problem solved. You're welcome. Would you now choose the Maxima now that I've mentioned
Of course
it?
not.
You'd rather have a GTI than that? Look at that.
Yes,
You could
all
probably
day.
get all those mods and still be under 10.
All day.
Kenny, pop onto Craigslist. Let's go look for a Maxima. What are you doing this weekend?
Wait, sorry, go back.
Not this.
Let's buy a Maxima in Hemet.
Go back one. Go back a photo. What the?
That's some out of country thing. That's Australian. That's
That-
right hand drive.
That looks like a combination of an Altima and a
Sentra.
Toyota Avensis.
Oh yeah. Okay, we've answered the question. I have answered the question correctly.
I think I've answered it very well, given who
right.
I am.
We'll never agree on this. So goodbye.
I want that Maxima.
Eccentricities.
Ooh,
You're gonna be
you
thinking
know what
about
I just
that?
realized? V70 stick.
Goodbye, everyone.